Okay, gonna record a video going over the PTR boss here. This is the first boss. We worked on it for about 45 minutes and then were able to get a kill. We stopped DPS, killing it a few earlier pulls just to see a couple other information. So, main thing is you can see this boss room. It's kind of like a octagon, hexagon pattern um, boss room, and this edge is really deceptive because it looks like there's kind of like a border, but there's not really a border. It's very easy to walk off, and this border doesn't like stop you from walking off, so just be aware of that. It's a mainly like plus-sized shaped boss room or whatever with 4 cardinal directions, and we marked them with colors. So there's green here. This is where the boss is like closest to, and it also glows like this maw-looking energy, sort of. And that's the first one that he'll kind of like empower or whatever. I forget the name of it, but it's just a pillar. And then he goes to the second one, which is blue. You can see red over here in the far corner, and then this one off screen right now is purple. And so he starts at green and he charges it up, and then the whole fight basically orients around these halos that happen, and some like soak other things and like some ads that spawn and pools and stuff like that. But the main thing is these halos. So they spawn from the pillars as an origin point, and then it's a circle that radiates outwards. It's a halo. The ability is something halo. And so when there's just one, it just goes like from here, and then it reaches the midpoint of the room halfway, and then it expands further and goes over towards purple. So there's no issue when it's the first one, and then he only does one starting at green for the first Halo set. Next, there'll be some lines that come out where he targets a player fixate thing, and you get a debuff if you soak the line. It's kind of like a guardian type mechanic, where you just can't soak the same thing twice, and it does 3 hits. So you can soak the 3 hits of the same beam, but then you don't want to soak again. So you just split the raid into 2 groups to soak the lines. You can immune the lines, so we just did it where the person with the line goes towards star in the center of the room because you're going to be rotating around this room a bunch. And then the people in either like groups 1 and 3 would stand in the line to soak the first one, and then the next time it happens, groups 2 and 4, if you get it on an immune person, they can just, instead of going to star, just go towards like the edge of the room, just immune it or something. Okay, so that's the basics. And then the boss will teleport around the room. You can drag him, but he does teleport in a fixed order and to fixed locations at certain points, and it's mostly time-based. It's not health-based, from what we could tell. Anyway, okay, so starting the actual boss.
2 more pulls on with this, right?
No, so he starts out over to green,
I'd like to.
and then there's going to be ads that spawn, so we're actually going to drag him over to moon, because after the first green pillar and the first halo, he's going to teleport right about here. It's like maybe 2/3 away from the wall towards the center of the room, like right about here, in this like very oriental, whatever, star cosmic or design. So he teleports about here, and then he empowers the blue pillar next, and so then the halos will start from green, and then a second one will also originate from blue. And what happens is after you get hit by one halo, you get a debuff for about 6 seconds, where you take massively increased damage if you get hit by another halo. So what you want to do is get hit by the green one early, and then get hit by the blue one as late as possible. So you want to be stacked on green near the origin so that you get hit by it early. Then even though the second one is going to spawn on blue, you actually want to go towards red. And when there's only 2 of them, you have plenty of time to do this. There's actually a lot of time. You can pretty much just stay stood near green where you are, and the debuff will time out and you'll get hit by the blue one, and that's fine. But then he's going to go, in addition, empower purple and empower red, and the pattern is a little bit different once we get to those. So anyway, starting off with the boss here, we drag him over here. There's going to be an ad that spawn, but the point is that blue and green are always always going to be next to each other and back to back, so you can drop pools in this quadrant of the room, because you're never really going to want to stand over in this area, because blue and green are always going to happen after each other, sequence of each other.
A bit, but you guys
this is a good place to start the boss.
Bait it this way.
So then these core ads spawn. I believe they fixate a tank, possibly the off tank, but basically they're just an ad. You just want to kill them fast. When they die, they spawn 3 pools on the ground, and those pools do disappear after a while, but it's a long time. Here's what this halo looks like. And then the only other real mechanic in the fight is this arc thing. I don't know what exactly the ability is called, but it spawns a bunch of lines. It's kind of like massacre lines. It's also kind of just like a pizza slice thing, but they do spawn in a sequence like this. So we couldn't figure out how the targeting worked, whether it targeted like the farthest player, whether it targeted ranged only players and just a random player, or just like the largest group of players. It wasn't very clear. You can see there's like individual lines like this. If you are stood close to the boss, it's very easy to just dodge to either side. So that's one option. If you're actually far away from the boss, you can see it's starting over here. There is actually gaps in these lines eventually. So if you kind of want to be stood either really close or really far, but not in the middle, because the middle is the hardest to dodge. On each of these lines, only one missile will hit you. It's not like an instant kill if you're anywhere in here. So if you actually just stand still, you can tank one of these on Heroic. We were at 252 eye level, so you can see I move over here, dodge the lines, but you can actually stand between them and I believe dodge them. Like that.
It might be smart to just stay in it because one line doesn't do much, but if you get hit by multiple.
So here's the soak mechanic. You can see it's called Staggering Barrage. So this person is oriented towards star, and then the groups are going to
own you.
line up in this line. Oh, he's actually immuning this.
Don't line up with this.
So you can see it does 3 hits. Those hits do knock you back. I don't think they would knock you back if you were in block, but for example, when I was in turtle and I immune soaked it, it does still knock you back even though you're immuning it. So just be aware of that. It's only like maybe a 5-yard knockback or so for each hit, but it does do 3 sequential knockback hits. So something to be aware of.
Okay, everybody swap to the core that's spawning.
Another core is going to spawn. I think if you kill these fast enough, they don't spawn any pools, possibly, so that's also nice that we possibly killed the first one before it spawned any pools.
She's about to hop.
Looks like we did. These one, yeah, it's still alive and it spawned pools near itself on the ground. So we had the first green halo here,
Yeah,
and there's another barrage. I tried to feign this, feign doesn't work.
Between Rio and Rio just.
So instead I just moved to the middle of the room.
Oh, it does. Okay, good to know.
A lot of this seems to be his mana based, so I was hoping if you could feign to cancel it, that maybe it wouldn't spend his mana and you would be able to manipulate his mana timings that way, but that isn't the case. You can see here is where he teleports. He always teleports. Oh, well, he starts the fight at green, and green is automatically empowered at the start of the fight. Then he goes to blue, then he goes to purple, then he goes to red. You couldn't manipulate this. It wasn't like he went to like the closest one. We tried doing that. Tried tanking him over by red. He still went to blue. So this is just seemed to be a fixed pattern. At least the case was on testing. So
stack up here. This is
and you can see this is about 1 minute and 10 seconds in the fight or so. He comes here. Now what he does here is he puts a shield on himself, and then he does a ton of damage while this shield is up. So you just want to do enough damage to break the shield. Lines up roughly on minute timers, slightly off from the first one. So you have 1 minute's pop here, break the shield. You'll have 2 minutes on the next one. 3 minute cooldowns will be on the next one, like
arrow cities
in that sequence or whatever. So
and trank.
It's not too bad. And here you just stack up, use raid healing CDs, things like that. Darkness, AMZ, barrier, spirit, and totem, all that jazz. And so we break the shield here.
We can kill the shield, yeah.
It cancels the cast, and that is kind of a DPS check. I believe once he gets to the bottom of that cast, it would like wipe the raid or something. I don't know. Anyway,
that was actually pretty good.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So now we're wanting to be over near green, and then we're going to want to move towards red because now it's going to be the halos from green to blue. So the way this works is he does halo, barrage, barrage, and then halo, barrage, barrage. So 1 halo, 2 barrages, and then a second halo and 2 barrages, and then he teleports. The first time he only does 1 halo and 2 barrages, I believe, before he teleports. You only get 1 green halo, but now you'll get green, blue, barrage, barrage, green, blue, barrage, barrage, and then he'll teleport to purple.
So yeah, over towards green, perfect.
And of course, during this time, he's still spawning ads every once in a while.
His core as it spawns, and the next set is gonna be group 1 and group 3 between star and the boss.
So core spawns. Okay, so you can see here we have plenty of time. My debuff drops
from 2 areas, right?
Right.
Look over at the blue
now from the halo, and I can't even see the other halo on my screen yet.
Area, see how much time you have.
So you can see here, I have like another solid 5 seconds before the second halo would have hit me.
Okay, this
here
is,
it's another soak.
This
person didn't really move out very well, but it's fine. Just trying to do some damage.
We got another ad spawning. Let's nuke that one down.
Another ad spawning.
Everybody swap to the ad now.
Start killing the ad.
Okay, so it does follow you, the tank, so we could have the tank take it to a corner quickly like that. Yeah, that was good.
And something to mention, obviously this was the heroic testing. When you do eventually get 3 and then 4 halos coming out, if you have to, you can immune and go through 2 of the like halo hits or whatever and live that way. And you can live in overlap. So that might be required somehow. That might be needed as a strat, might just be needed as a way to save yourself in a bad situation, but that's also something to mention.
Okay, this is 1 and 3 between the boss and
So
Star.
here's another barrage.
We need to get back towards
Green
triangle
triangle.
right now, right?
So now we want to get
Halo
towards
and core,
green
so head over towards green
because
triangle.
we're getting another green-blue combo of the halos.
The cords. Try to drag that over towards the other puddles that are already down if you can. Dodge the arc.
This is kind of an awkward line. As you can see, I tried to get as far away as possible to try and dodge it. One still actually hit me, but it's close.
Got hit by the sim arc twice.
If you take a gate, yeah, you could possibly get hit by the arc twice, and I think you could also just get hit by the halos in general while you were traveling with the gate. So I don't think you can do like Painsmith stuff to.
Yeah, you want to take it first, right?
To go over spikes like you could.
This is 2 and 4 between the boss and Star.
Let's see here. Move my soak towards Star.
Okay, teleport.
That's about what the knockback is like.
Blue, green.
So now he teleports to purple again. And so now the sequence actually flips. So while it was going green, blue, and now you have purple active, the sequence doesn't start with green and then go to blue and then go to purple. It does the opposite. It starts with purple and goes to blue and then goes to green. So after the purple side activates here, the sequence flips. It reverses itself. So now what you want to do is get hit by purple early, get hit by blue midway through, and take a long time to get hit by green, which basically means if you stand on this line by where purple is, and especially close to the purple origin point, is that you basically get hit by purple immediately, get hit by blue when it's roughly halfway across the room, and then you get hit by green when it's 90% of the way across the room, and so that you space out those 3 hits and you live. So we had to spend some pulls learning that because it wasn't clear how the pattern worked, but we eventually just figured out it's a hard fixed pattern that just reverses itself for some reason. We thought it would go green, blue, purple. Had to spend a pull figuring out that was wrong.
Yep, so head over towards purple more.
And again, of course, still getting more tank ads.
Spawning. Nuke the core and be over towards purple.
So here's the purple halo.
Next will be from blue.
Next is going to be from blue.
If you're gonna get hit. It doesn't do that much, in all honesty.
I was checking that was the line soak debuff. The debuff icons looked pretty similar
and
to
you're looking at the debuff.
Waiting for that debuff to time out. Now I can cross this halo.
Between the boss and
that was all 3. Again, I got baited by the debuff icon.
Next will be 2 and 4.
Missed out on soaking.
Right.
2 of those hits, which is bad. But it's fine.
Everybody in the core.
Heal another core. Spawn pools at the edge of the room. I imagine on Mythic, if you got hit by the Arc, for example, that might spawn pools, and maybe if you get hit by the Barrage, that spawns pools under you or something. Definitely seems like, or maybe like more of these are active on Mythic,
I think there's another
and all 4 are active during the whole fight or somehow. So that you have to figure out a way to dodge it.
It's purple again, right? Kill the core and go to
it's the same order.
Kill the core and go to purple.
So it starts green alone, then it does 2 green, blue, green, blue, and it does another 2 purple, blue, green, green, and then it'll add
them one at a time, right? You can rush
the red
Debuff's gone.
halo, and the red halo does counter, or it just goes clockwise, so it goes red, purple, blue, green. We only saw that once, and you can see in this case we actually are going to kill the boss pretty much, so it does go to red. After that, who knows what the pattern is? I assume it stays red, purple, blue, green, but we don't know that for sure, and how long that lasts or whatever. But there didn't seem to be a super tight tuning on this, at least. Obviously it was heroic, so. And that was the fight.